Hello, it's Leticia Collins Servin. Today is March 30th, 2022, and what have I done recently? I went to Mass on Sunday. I didn't mention that. I'm sitting in a yoga studio right now. Probably going to go to yoga later this evening. And pretty much not a whole lot going on. I haven't really sought any type of assistance or resources because everywhere you go, someone has some type of excuse as to why they can't help you individually. And I try to disclose that to everyone, that I really don't feel like sharing my story unless it's pertinent to the situation. But then today I wandered into a human resources department, but it was actually just COVID testing going on in the office. And the lovely woman we struck up a conversation and we started chatting about, the resources that I was looking for. And I ended up divulging my story to her. And she said, yeah, there's a lot of instances where women end up getting blamed for these rape scenarios. In actuality, those statistics aren't covered in the, and disclosed to everyone. Like, where are the statistics for rape that is not able to be documented, able to be verified through the judicial courts? So that's the saddest thing about our country, is that you have to have a paper trail that helps support what's going on with you. And she even had stated that, because of the fact that, the father of this baby is going to turn around and place a bunch of criminal, harassing communications against me and whatnot, and that's going to look terrible for me in the courts. I'm not really sure what people are talking about. I think they're crazy. I don't look crazy in that sense of I didn't falsify the rape documents, and I'm really not sure what you're trying to tell me. I don't get it. If you're going to be that backhanded with the judicial system and the governing of this process, and then so be it. I'm not going to fight whatever insane allegations are placed against me. If you presume that I'm harassing the communications of all these men because they assaulted me, then that's on you, and that's your God, and that's whatever you're praying to, which is very sad, because I thought when I was born and went to those Catholic schools, that I was a part of the good side, the good people that wanted to do good for the world. And apparently everyone wants to just fuck me over constantly. And I even expressed to the girl, she was approximately my age, I guess, and she was very lovely. And she even offered me a hug by the time we were done chatting, because there was, I guess she just felt really drawn to trying to help me. And she even placed a phone call to her father to ask for some resources, because he works with people with substance abuse. And I knew I reeked of marijuana, because I'm trying to finish up my the rest of what I've got. I keep saying that, but honestly, I really don't want to snap at some point and end up cutting myself because I don't have marijuana on hand. And just to calm me down in those instances where I'm super hyped up and I'm not able to do things like take naps, I'm not able to do things like eat anything because my finances are low. I try to explain to people that when I had my belongings and I took care of them, I tried. And then when I let other people into my space and into my sphere of life, then that's where things started to go awry. And there were a few times where my family was beneficial to me. My mother was helpful in getting me the housing situation that I had prior. And she has been there to make efforts here and there, but she was never able to accept what had happened when I was a child, and she does not blame herself whatsoever for my sexual traumas. And she states things such as, other people had it way worse than you, and, look at your sister even. And it's horrifying. Don't compare me and my sister. You've always done that our entire upbringing. And I feel, like I have compassion toward my mother. I do still love her in that way, but I cannot trust her. That's the difference. She's an alcoholic. And when she goes into those moods of trying to love on me and things, sometimes it gets graphic and I don't want to be a part of it. Like, you need to take your alcoholism somewhere else. And I had to suffer through that as a child. There's no reason for it now. So I'm 34 years old. No, thank you. So when my mother, okay, all right. When I stayed with my mom and I was painting that painting for my daughter, I have photos of it listed on my Facebook if you ever cared to look for it. It's a painting I did. It was somebody's fan art that I had taken an excerpt of and painted it on a portrait and made it my own, for my kid, because I didn't know how much time I had. I never know how much time I have left. And that's worrisome to me because it's because of the fact that I have these suicidal ideations, and all of a sudden I just want to harm myself over the facts of life, over the facts of what I've lived through, the trauma that I've sustained, the differences in, just things that have aggravated me to the point where I just feel like there's no return. There's just nothing I can do. I was painting that painting, and she came into the room and she asked me, she said, can I talk to you for a little while? And I was like, sure. And she was drunk, very sloppy drunk, and wanted to take a bath, so she was sloshing around in the bathtub nude. And mothers and daughters, we go into the restroom with each other. It doesn't seem weird to me, because I'm not thinking any perversions, although my mother did think them toward me, which was really odd. But then she asked me, she said, why does everything keep going wrong in my life? Because my brother was under investigation at that time for sexual acts toward his stepdaughter, who was only 8 years old. And I said, it's because of the fact that you didn't place the proper pedophile in prison when you should have, and corrected the circumstances back when my dad was, sexually abusing me. And now all of a sudden it's your karma. It's that rotation of the cycle. It's the rotation of life, what goes around comes around, and vice versa. So you have to find that equilibrium and just being happy within yourself. And I had to find that within my own being too. And rationalize that the only things that matter are the things that are essentially with me at the moment, at all moments. So there are times where I can switch my attitude, my thinking, my pattern, the pattern of thought, and I can adjust it to either, it compensate for the mood or the energy that I'm receiving from other people. So, and the same thing throughout life, I just sort of go with energy flows. I try to stay on the positive note, but a majority of the time I was revolved in a lot of toxicity because I couldn't get out of that flow due to the pharmaceuticals I was on. It was too many artificial contaminants in my body, and I can tell, and I've always been able to tell when I was a child, the things that I ate, the things that I interacted with. I would break out in hives and rashes. I'm actually allergic to cockroaches and dust mites, and found that out when I was 12 years old. I think it might have been right before my suicide attempt, actually, that we found out. But because I was 12 years old when I did my first suicide attempt, and they charcoaled me and pumped my stomach, and because I had taken a bunch of my mother's pain pills, and because I didn't want to live anymore. My brother was molesting me, my dad was molesting me, he was always physically abusing me too, and psychologically, always telling me that I was the issue toward, men's attraction toward me. And I shouldn't have to worry about men's attraction toward me, my brothers especially, my, affection, that I just don't understand it. I don't understand the simplicity behind these barbaric thoughts of wanting to be sexual with something that clearly didn't ask for it, and the same in the circumstances with this baby inside of me, that like anybody that knows Leticia knows that she wasn't asking for it. If she tells you she was and I'm completely honest, there are times where I joke around because I'm like, yeah, I was being really slutty or I was being overly flirtatious, but that still doesn't mean that you have the right to my body, not in any form, not in any circumstance. So the fact that I'm creating life for someone that is inconsiderate and very selfish in that way, very narcissistic, and gaslighted me to get whatever he wanted, and now he's going to try to place some type of harassment on me for telling him the truth about what he truly is, which is a monster. And I think that's hilarious because men call themselves out on being lowly scum all the time, and they don't even see it from like a third party perspective. And it's not even men or women or whatever, whomever I discuss my story with, they understand. They're like, no, either we've known you from so long, or even from your mannerisms, from getting to know you the short time we've seen you. Well, I'm very avoidant. I don't try to make new connections that are going to last anymore, because half the time when they're lasting, it's me putting in so much effort that I'm drained and I can't go any further. And people take advantage of someone like that. And I realized how much of a giver I was in all of my circumstances, and that's where, like, I rationalize now I'm better off on my own. I'm better off just doing things on my own and to my best abilities by myself, and that's why I don't ask for anything. I told the woman that I was chatting with today, I never got back around to what my mother had said to me, and I told her about the whole karma thing. Well, she got pissed off and she was sloshing around, and I told her, I said, I'm just going to go ahead and finish my artwork. I'm going to go paint some more because you're getting kind of riled up and whatever. I didn't really, rowdy is what I meant to say. And I ended up going back and I started painting, and then she came back into the room where I was, and she started peeling the stickers off of the wall of her grandchildren's names because she stuck them on there for some ill attempt to try to clarify to people that she loved them. And I know that that's what people presumed I did with my own child, that we were all just sort of, my mother uses the words of love against individuals, and she's not as, sentimental. These things don't have as high of a sentimentality as they do with someone, say, like me, who is very, very creative and makes attempts with the little that she has. And that's why, like I said, I painted that painting for my daughter. It was Pokemon. It was all the evolutions of Eevee in the shape of a heart, all of their little evolutions in the shape of a heart with the word evolve in the middle. And when you turned off the lights, it glowed in the dark, the words evolve, and there was like hearts and stars. Well, in the background was a sort of a rainbow mosaic-y universe style. And so, like, it's actually very lovely. I hope that she has that painting, because I put a lot of effort into that, and I put my insignia at the bottom, and even put on their mommy on the portrait. So the fact that I did that, and actually there's proof of it through the place that I had taken it to go get it framed. I think it was Michael's. Sorry, there was somebody checking the door over here in the yoga studio. Anyway, so I don't know how much longer I have to film on my own while I'm resting in a quiet place where I can just sit and relay the things that I want to relay, because they're on my mind, because I'm in a lot more pain than people realize. I put up a good fight, like I'm always smiling, I'm always doing well in that way, and I'm very cordial to others, and I don't act out. But that's where you have to worry that those moments when I do act out, that's when I try to commit suicide, because there's no other outlets for me. I've sought help, I've sought appropriated communication, and I've sought healthy connections, and there are no healthy connections out there. If people would rationalize that the reasons that I snapped all these years, not being around my daughter for 6 years, I spoke to the woman. Oh, I was telling you, my mother came in, was pulling off the stickers. Then I have ADHD, so please don't mind me going back and forth in my storylines, because they all end up making sense. You just have to kind of follow along, because I have a lot to say. And so my mother ends up asking me about that, and then she came in and she said, I should have killed you when your father told me to. And I just laughed. I sat there on the floor. I was like, well, I wish I would have had that on video so that I could disclose that to people, because hearing it is a form of healing. And I told her that, I don't harbor resentment toward that, because I knew it all along. And I knew she hated me from the moment I was born. And it was the circumstances behind it. And I disclosed a little bit of that in some of my other videos about, that my mother definitely had postpartum depression with me and didn't want anything to do with me. And because I was a girl. And that's the saddest part, because I never realized how much I was hated until the last few years that I was waking up and rationalizing that my ex-husband had placed me on disability so that I could never regain custodial rights of my daughter, left me with 2 loaded guns, promised me that he would be with me after we divorced, because he just didn't believe in the constructs of marriage, and then remarried, or married someone else 2 years after that, or a high school sweetheart. And now they've got the house and home, and he actually moved in and impeded on my space and destroyed my space, my house, my home. And he was homeless and had no job when he moved in with me. And I love how the tables have turned, because I should have known better at that very instance when we met, that he didn't place enough effort into me, and I should have known better. And I would think I was 23 years old at that time when we had met, and so he was 21. And I just should have known better. I should have known better that he was using me and manipulating me, but I didn't know any better, because my life didn't lead me down that path. My father didn't show me what a loving man does. He showed me the opposite. And then thereafter, every authoritative figure, every officer, I tried to comply with, but they saw my verbal aggression as non-compliance, and got me on things like disorderly conduct, when in actuality I'm actually very cordial to officers and very understanding of their jobs, understanding of what's going on. Every time I called the police as a child, I ended up getting reprimanded also. I tried to call the police when my father punched me in the face, and because my family stood against me and said it didn't happen, it's like, do you not see the bruises? Did you not see the bruises that ended up coming later on that I had to hide? And my first boyfriend's mom helped me put makeup on my eye one time. I'm sure she remembers. But so there's proof out there. There's plenty of people that know my story individually, that know that the system really messed with me because they didn't do their job properly when they said that they would. Child Protective Services did not get involved when they should have. And just hearing that, when my mother told me that about 1.5 years ago, about wishing she would have killed me when I was young, that way she wouldn't have these issues now. And then she always proclaimed that she saved my life when I was 2 years old, and I had that high fever due to dysentery and other ailments. We were vacationing in Mexico, where my father's family is from, and I was so deathly ill that I was lighter physically than my younger brother, who was a newborn. You know, he was newly born, maybe 6 months old, maybe a year old. So I was approximately 2.5 at that point, and had gotten such a high fever that's why I have a calcium deposit on my front tooth. I've always been very discouraged about, because I always thought I was so ugly because of these little differences, but in actuality it was the calcium deposit was made into my adult teeth due to the fact that I had sustained that high fever as a child, and doctors had to inform me of that and clarified that it's like a beauty mark in that way, because it discloses the pain and suffering that I've sustained throughout my entire life. And that's the fact that I shine it on my teeth, my smile is kind of like, it's beautiful in itself, because knowing that there were so many attempts on my life in that way, my mother proclaimed that it was her that saved my life. And I tell her, no, it was God working through you to force you to take care of one of your children, because she ended up having 5. And she said she rushed me back to the States where they could heal me, and, you know, against my father's demands, against my father's will. And I'm thinking, excuse me, you're the one that got 15 and pregnant and then had your first baby 16 and, you know, mom at 16. And you're going to tell me that your opinion is going to rationalize what's going on. Like, you didn't know. You hated your children. You mistreated us all the time. You didn't give each one of us individualized affection or attention. You lumped us in as a whole. You threatened to beat us. You threatened to I'm going to get your dad on you. You know, no, thank you. He was a fucking predator, and he was crazy and just whooped us for no reason with all types of objects. No wonder all of my brothers ended up mentally whatever the hell. My sister did too, the way that she revolved with her own children and still continued on with the abusive cycles of mocking her children, you know, treating her children as if they're her objects and her property. And that's why when I gave up my daughter, okay, first of all, you need to get those signatures correct, because there was no notary involved when I signed over rights to my child. So whomever is involved in all of that needs to rationalize the reason that I ended up having all of these stays in psych wards after the fact and on so many psychiatric medications due to depression and my post-traumatic stress. And they never, you know, my ex-husband's family never got in trouble for physically assaulting me. And who got in trouble? I did. I called the police, so it was somebody had to go to jail, and I was obviously the one in the wrong, because I had all my clothes ripped off of me. I had all these bruises and all these scrapes, and none of them had any of them on them, because I actually didn't assault any family members. So I was acquitted of those charges. But do you think that actually helps appease me or compensate the trauma that I've sustained or the pain and suffering that I've had thereafter? Rationalizing that these monsters got away with it, that these deviants got away with it, that these predators got away with it over words because they couldn't rationalize, because I've been in therapy since I was 12 years old, so I had to keep it in and then disclose it when I talk, and people don't like that, so they get physically violent, and you don't want to call that mental illness? But you tell me that I'm mentally ill, that I'm not able to seek custody of my child because I'm disabled. I don't know how to take care of myself. Maybe I don't know how to financially support myself right now because I'm breaking again due to the pregnancy that I'm undergoing, forcible pregnancy, forced pregnancy. You know, I really wish circumstances would have been different. I wish that at some point I would have gotten that loving home that I've been praying for since I was a fucking toddler, you know, but I didn't get that. So instead I have to relay it on these videos and express myself and tell my therapists over and 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 over again. And people don't rationalize. Like, I don't repeat these things because I want to. I repeat them because they're truths. I repeat them because they're hurting me. I repeat them because I need to get them as far away from me as possible. And by speaking them out loud, I hope that they end up becoming rationalized by the people that have violated me. So when I was speaking to that young lady, earlier today at the Department of Human Services and whatever, she was all, by herself, so she had nothing to do, and she spent like nearly an hour talking to me just because I was so overwhelmed, seeking resources for being pregnant, seeking resources for being homeless, seeking this and that, seeking refuge and sanctuary, and it's like I can't find it. And I expressed to her too the strange circumstances behind me getting kicked out of these shelters when that's what they're there for. You discriminated against me for some reason, and I don't suffer from any violent mental behavior. So the fact that I've got a criminal record that states otherwise, that's what people look at. They look at that in conjunction with my mental health, and they see paper. They don't see the individual. They don't see the fact that I'm not like that. They don't see the fact that I was messed with this entire time. They don't see the fact that, yes, I'm disabled, but that doesn't make me violent. Yes, I'm disabled emotionally, and I'll give everybody everything that I have, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, not all the time, but a majority of the time. People would ask me, do you have money or whatever? Yes, I do. Here, you're obviously worse off. That's why you're asking me, of all people. And I always thought it was a joke. I was like, seriously? Like, I'm struggling, God, what the hell? But, at the same time, it's kind of funny because I've always had that giving personality. I don't want to see anybody suffer more than I've already suffered, and that's the sad part, because it seems like everywhere I turn, I get just stiff-armed. You're like, no, you're not gonna, no thank you, just no. Just no, like, just blindside me for sure, because they'll promise you the world, they'll gaslight you, every individual, it seems like, and yeah, that's why I just don't ask anything of anyone. Like, please don't ask anything of me. I won't ask anything of you. We'll just keep in our own bubble, and we won't have to hurt each other or harm each other. So, but yeah, I just feel like there's so much that other people don't rationalize when it comes to mental health, and the fact that I sought help. I sought voluntary parenting classes, voluntary anger management classes, voluntary therapy. Nobody sees that as me getting better. I voluntarily lost 150 pounds on my own with no help from doctors and no help from trainers and no help from this and that. I mean, yeah, some trainers talked to me. They mentioned a couple things, but I didn't necessarily get worked out. I didn't pay for any training. I didn't pay for this and that. I did everything as cheap as possible. So even like the vegan diet, people are like, oh my God, that's so expensive. Well, yeah, when I go to my restaurants, yeah, it is, and that's my choice, is like, that's what I want to splurge on, is nice, fancy vegan food. But other than that, no. I go to the grocery store, I pick up salad pieces, I pick up things that are on clearance here and there, and that sustained me this entire time. I pick up a lot of avocados. I pick up a lot of things. I try to avoid bananas because they have sugar, and plus they were, genetically modified to be what they are today. But I try to get as many organic things as possible, or get like things like dates, and they've got a lot of antioxidants in them, blueberries, things like that. So I'll sustain myself on these luxurious things, and it's like, first of all, I was able to pay for them through my WIC. I haven't had access to my WIC for the last 30 days because it timed out last month, and I didn't go back to the facility to get it renewed. So that's another reason as to why I'm suffering right now, because I didn't get my $43 in produce this month. But I can make that type of money go a long way because I look for things with coupons, and I look for sale items, and I look for things that, the clearance things here and there. I don't understand why people think that I live such a lavish lifestyle just because I maintain the things that I have. The boots that I'm videoed in recently, what is that? They start with an M. The brand name, M-A-K, something like that, or M-U-K, something like, anyway, that brand, they were literally on clearance for $10. that's what I've been going around in, and you're gonna talk smack to me because you think that I have all these luxurious, fancy things. Like, I think this sweater was probably like $5 because I used all of my reward points here and there, and I find things on clearance. I make sure that they work in conjunction for themselves so I can have enough to sustain myself. You know, the socks that I've had for years now. You know, the same with the underwear, because I don't really, and then I got those underwear from that dude that bought them. They were the wrong size. So I called to see if I could return them without a receipt, and they said, no, you couldn't. And it's like, it's horrifying to me. Take your items back. If somebody placed the effort into purchasing them, regardless if they were a gift, regardless of this and that, you know that in your inventory, you know from the cameras and the footage that those items were purchased that day, and that I should be able to exchange them for another size due to my needs. It makes no sense. So I'm out that package of underwear, the new underwear that I had gotten, because they're just a little too snug. And I'm just like, oh, I should have known better. You're not the same size, you're growing. And plus they're different brands, so everything's always a little different here and there. So, I was talking to that lady, back around to this, and since I've got a moment to myself still. And she had mentioned too that, you know, like these women keep getting in trouble for disclosing pedophiles. And there's a woman in Wisconsin somewhere that posts videos about catching predators online by herself. And one time she met up with someone in like a shopping mall, and the police ticketed her because she was harassing him. In actuality, he was there to prey upon a teenage girl, or so he thought. So instead of being able to rationalize this, they give her a ticket. And I feel like that's very backhanded, very backward, and I think like that's sort of the same instances that happen with me when I open up my mouth. The officers, they act always so weird to me. They're always like, shh, they act weird, like it's some weird code and I don't know it, and like I do, but I don't. And I understand that everybody's going to get their karma, and everybody is going to have their day of judgment. I understand that in that sense of like, now that we're accessing people's lives, their personal lives through these electronics, now that we're able to engage with them on a moment's, in a moment's notice and throughout their day, we know exactly when timestamps are on phone calls, on text messages, on pictures taken, on media that's shared, all these different facets. We know also the IP addresses that these things stem from, and all these tracking and tracing devices and whatnot. Okay, so it's just a moment, it's just right before things end up becoming a little bit more out of hand, and I understand that because people are going to start scurrying like roaches when they realize that they're going to get in trouble for looking at pedophilia, that they're going to be in trouble for engaging with children and this and that and becoming, being perverse. And I've never wanted justice so much in my life. I just feel like, quit messing with me. I don't have the things that comfort me. The father of this child was not good to me. And when I even told the lady that today, she had said, she told me about that instance, and then she also mentioned too that she had like a friend, or she knew of people because her father worked with people that had sustained rape and everything, and that there were a lot more stories out there than people rationalize, and that the men get away with it, and that it's not fair to the woman in the slightest. It's not fair to the children. And it doesn't make any sense. And I said, well, I think it's just men's way of trying to keep their secrets to themselves still, about their perversions, keep their perverse secrets to themselves. The fact that they have mother issues, the fact that they have sister issues and incestual thoughts. Nobody wants their thoughts to get out there because they don't want to be reprimanded for every little thing. And that's where I rationalize in and out of certain psychiatric hospitals and certain incidences with officers when I was heightened on certain medications, that I was literally screaming my reality at people and like trying to expose what I was seeing and what like the trauma and stuff. People know I'm not lying about this. People know I'm not, you know, trying to seek any type of true compensation in that way, because they'll all get their karma. I'm horrified. Please quit messing with me. And the fact that I told her, I said, you know, the fact that this man hasn't talked to me for months, you'd think that that would be clear, you know, a clear point to you know, like clarifying that obviously it was just rape. Obviously it was just that instance that Jason Wallace wanted with me, and that was it. That's all there is to say, is that he wanted the sex, the rape, and there has been no emotional no emotional compensation for that, no financial, no nothing. Obviously it was rape, and obviously I'm getting mistreated in these circumstances, and inevitably everything will come back around. I don't care. And even if they catch me and they're like, oh, you gotta go to jail for so long because warrant, you falsified a rape report, I'm gonna laugh in their face. I'm gonna sit out my time, and inevitably it'll just come back to that motherfucker who lied. Like it will. Or the people that are forcing me to do these things that you know is wrong. You know damn well that he raped me. You know damn well that he just didn't want shit to do with me, and it wasn't even like, he just did not give a fuck. I was trying to be nice. I was trying to put my heart out there on my sleeve to be like, okay, let's try this again, bitch. Let's try this again, bitch. Like, seriously. Like, cause that's all he is a little fucking pussy ass bitch running away from his problems like that. I don't give a fuck who you are. I told my ex-husband that. That's why he called me intimidating, because I straight up will talk down to a bitch. And like, that's straight up what he's acting like. There's a fucking child inside of me. There's a reason why I'm snapping. There's a reason why I'm hormonal. There's a reason why other people are always like giving me shit and whatever. Not shit, but giving me things and giving, you know, helping me and whatever. The fact that this man, physically, I'm getting fucking heated. I straight up want to punch his fucking face, like straight up, and just fucking chop his dick off, like straight up, like, Jesus. And they used to tell us that getting heightened in that state of aggression meant nothing and everything, like, oh no, that means you're deranged. Well, yes, in a sense, like I'm snapping right now. I'm fucking snapping. This motherfucker, no, this is reactive abuse. My abuse toward what actually was considered the first abuse, you know? And that's why I try to disclose to people too when it comes to my discussing my parents. I did not take any parenting advice from my family. None whatsoever. My child was a very calm child. She scribbled on the wall one time, and I told her, I was like, no, we don't do that. Remember, like, we don't do that. Here's the paper. And she was like kind of discouraged because, you know, she didn't cry. And oh my God, there was one toy that I tried, that one jumper that you put in the, oh my God, I'm traumatized just thinking about it. Just like, oh my God. The jumper that you put in the door frame. The door frame wasn't thick enough for it to hold the jumper, and she was doing a good job. And it came down and smacked her in the fucking head. The whole fucking metal piece, and I'm thinking, holy shit, my baby is retarded now. You know, I joke, but it's not funny. It's not funny in the slightest. None of these things, none of these terms are very funny either, using the word retard and whatever. But when you're dealing with a bully and you're dealing with people that are pussy-ass little bitches, then you just don't care. Yeah, they're whatever they are. They are obviously retarded. Jason Wallace is obviously retarded. If you want your offspring out there to rationalize that, oh, their father's a piece of shit, oh, he stemmed from the army, oh, okay, well, yeah, we're gonna have a fucking, segregation there of people just rationalizing, oh, yeah, these motherfuckers, they don't get away with shit. Because people will talk. People will inevitably just share the true facts about things. And like I do with my story, there's nothing else better I have to do with my time. Absolutely nothing. I literally need this much therapy. Like, I literally need hours of therapy a week in order for me to rationalize my circumstances and rationalize the misbehaviors of others. And I don't necessarily find myself in a lot of situations where I act out first. I honestly am very patient, and people know that of me. So I'm really not sure why I'm continuing on like this and why this is even an issue. I don't understand why I have to preach about this stuff. It should automatically just be like, okay, yeah, Leticia said it. She's not she's not a deviant. I'm not seeking any gains from this. Let me back that up. My gains would be, leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone. Okay? That's what my gains would be. Like, literally, do not come up to me. Don't impede on my consciousness. Do not force your will upon me. Do not question my reality. Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Now, when people offer me hugs and things, and if I'm getting a good vibe from them in that sense, if I know you're not going to harm me through this touch right now at this very moment, that's when I engage. Like today, when the lady gave me a big, very big hug, it was so nice. And she had big titties, I had big titties, so it was nice. And she spread her like body, whatever is still sort of like on me, the perfume. And she's a beautiful woman, and I realized now after the years that when people called me a beautiful woman, they were regarding the fact of my breast size. Like, that's a lot of times what it is. I think that because people think that I've got large breasts, that I've always had everything given to me. And in actuality, no, I didn't seek things like that. Hardly ever will you see me in photos or anything of very much makeup. I used to put like foundation on, I used to put, eye makeup on, but no like lipstick or anything of that nature. And I would just, my hair was thicker back then because I didn't chop it off because of that horrifying treatment I had last year. And now I have no hair. And now I'm just like slowly trying to grow it out. I feel like, and then later on I'm supposed to do yoga, but I am just so sad and disheartened by the world around me that I don't want to socialize. Oh, I was telling that lady, though, earlier, I had mentioned that, that you'd think it would be a clear sign that it was rape since he hadn't gotten back to me, since he was not making an attempt at some type of a relationship or anything. It makes no sense. I was just being polite. I was being genuinely kind. And there was nothing in that where I had asked for that first encounter to happen, that first sexual encounter. Then thereafter, I thought, disillusioned. I thought that it might turn into something because he liked me, But it's never like that, and I need to express that to girls and young ladies that, and even women, because men will gaslight you all day long. They'll offer you breadcrumbs, they'll offer you barely anything, and then when it comes to that emotional support that we're really seeking, or that comfort or whatever, or that stability in a relationship, they have it to offer to so many other women. I've met a lot of men like that. They don't want one woman anymore. There's something wrong with the male mentality where they believe that they can always have more, and not rationalize that inevitably it's going to end up fucking you over. Like, really. And that's why I tell people too, when this baby comes out, I'm not going to be seeking any type of, people are like, oh, you can screw him on child support. No, I do not want shit from that piece of shit. I want him to stay the fuck away from me. Absolutely, just stay the fuck away from me. If you wanted nothing to do with me emotionally, then you want nothing to do with this child, and you want nothing to do with financing this child, and that is perfectly okay with me. I would not want to take a single dime from that piece of shit ever again, because I saw what taking, rest and I thought it was going to be a relaxing trip to 4 days at an Airbnb. Oh yeah, cool, like I finally have a place, I'm gonna rest, I'm gonna cook for myself a little bit. And no, that's not what happened. He just ran away that first day after we had done that, and then told me I needed to go get a plan B. And I was like, I don't have the money for that. The fuck are you talking about? Like, anyway, I'm fucking angry, and I know I keep repeating myself, but I'm just so mad. I just want to stab somebody. Like, that's how mad he makes me right now. Like, that's how mad. And then people say that it's women that are crazy. No. You shouldn't be stabbing people with your dicks first then. And then we wouldn't want to stab you with something really sharp to make sure that you do not breathe anymore. So, yeah, and my baby hurts all the time when I talk down about its father like that. It moves around all crazy, and it's like, calm the fuck down. And I'm just like, yes, I know that's your other half, but I just don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Men are shit, and I thought it was going to be so much better. I thought I was going to get the opportunity with my next pregnancy to have love for once in my life, and look forward to the oncoming child. But those are just fairy tales. Those are just stories that they put in the movies to make little girls believe that they have a chance at true love. And there is no such thing, true love. Men are all sick, and they'll look for whatever the prettiest is, whatever this and that is. And there's so many times that I could have fallen for so many different people, could have had affection for everyone, but there was always something off about them. There was always something I kept pushing them away about. And I feel like there's probably just that one person, that you're meant to just attach to, and you won't see anybody else. You just want that one person, and you just want to be with them and next to them, and doing, progressing, doing things with them, and finding happiness every day and every moment through, even the hardships, even the arguments. And I've always been told how light I can make a situation, and how I diffuse situations so well. And people have made fun of me about why don't you have a relationship? And it's because I have an avoidant behavior. I don't want to be around anyone. I push everyone away prior to them pushing me away, because of the instances that I've had, because the people that told me they loved me didn't truly love me. I've never truly had true love in my life aside from my daughter, and that was me offering to her, and then she just disappeared. She's going to be 10 years old. You'd think that her word would matter, and if she chose to want to see me, that it would be, viable in a court of law. But I just sit and wait. Inevitably, she'll come back around, and she'll want to at least know about me, at least want to research me. And that's why I place these videos out there, because I do try to engage people through their emotions, through their reality of the emotions being shown and displayed during all these circumstances and situations. And how would you act? How would, somebody, that you love in all these circumstances, how would you feel? I feel very let down. I feel very disappointed, and I feel very discouraged. And there's nobody that's going to be able to fix that absolutely nobody in the world and no amount of money could fix the pain that I've sustained. And will always just have to swallow those tears. And I guess that's why people say that I'm a lot tougher than most, because I was able to rationalize these things on my own and just need a little bit of encouragements here and there, a little bit of boost, you know. People expressing to me that I needed to look up different relaxation techniques, people, you know, telling me that I needed to research certain aspects of education and this and that. But so far, since I have no financial backing, then I just don't seek anything beyond my means. If you're trying to tell me go back to school, well, where are the finances for that? Because I'm not going to go into debt again. If you're telling me go get a different car payment, okay, are you going to pay my last payment off that I didn't get to pay? And so, or should I just start over from nothing and live on the ground until this and that? No. I mean, if I have to do things a little bit backhanded just to survive right now, then that's it. I haven't paid my car payment for like 2 weeks now. It's 2 weeks late. No, it's a week late. And so, but yeah, that's discouraging for me because I always tried to stay on top of everything. I always made sure that I budgeted everything into my current situation. But this baby and the mental upheavals and seeking certain help and also trying to comfort myself has set me back financially more than I could have expected, more than I had anticipated. And then people say, well, you know, find somebody that'll adopt your baby. No, I'm not going to see somebody else raise this child. That is not going to happen. Like, I literally would die first. Like, I told people, you can pry it out of my cold, dead hands. And I don't give a fuck if people think that's a threat or not. I really don't. It's not necessarily when you're not helping the mother. And also, too, you didn't hear her talk about this stuff years ago. And I already informed people, what do you want me to go get raped now? Is that what you want? Me just being a cute single girl, just wandering around, homeless? Like, is that what you want? Oh yes, that is what they wanted. That's what the universe, that's what the government decided when they sent these fucking military men my way, I'm sure. So, I'm just over it. I fucking hate everybody right now. Today is not a good day. I tried to take a nap a little while ago. I got 8 hours of sleep. I'm angry because I had processed food. I had an Impossible Whopper because it was, you know, that $3 Whopper Wednesday. I was raised on eating regular food. And then I had to rationalize how sick it was making me, both physically and mentally. And then now I eat the processed substitutes, but I would prefer to just make my own food if I could, but I cannot at this time, so I just have to find little means of survival here and there. And I had $3.17. So I bought it. And, but yeah. I don't think it was 17 though. Maybe I've got that wrong from my earlier purchase today too. $3 and some odd change. Maybe it was like 27 cents or something like that. But usually I have everything on par, but today I'm just not giving an F. And then I went over to another location because I wanted to get some potato rounds. So I got those potato rounds. That's what really did me in, because I could feel the moment that I had that much grease in my system that my guts were gurgling, and now this aggression has started to, I just had him about an hour and a half ago, so I can already tell the difference in my temperament and my overall attitude and my lack of enthusiasm and my lethargy that has happened. So I just don't want to do anything. I'm just tired. I just want to eat. And that's what processed foods do to you. They just keep you maintaining on the same lack of nutrients, and all you are is tired. And you can't manage because you're not getting the appropriate nourishment that your body needs. So like yesterday I had an avocado. I felt so much better, just like physically. I just eat an avocado. Sometimes I bite into it, like I peel it and bite into it like an apple. Like, it's so good. I love avocados. Absolutely love them. And I love cashews too. But lately I haven't eaten any of that stuff because I'm very sad within myself. Like, I know I don't necessarily need a partner for this baby, or myself, but I would like to have one. It would be nice. It would be nice to be held and comforted when I just want to cry, and when I just want to get over it, and when I just want to go party. And I don't even party. Like, some people had asked me before, they're like, you party? And I was like, what do you mean? Like slushies and slumber parties? Like, that's my mentality. And they're like, no, like hard drugs. Like, no. Does it look like it? I have all my teeth. Like, no thank you. And I don't have pots in my face, like holes and a bunch of marks, just because I have a little bit of acne every once in a while. Jesus. Does it look like I party? No, I'm definitely not that kind of girl. Except for when I wear certain dresses and stuff, I'm sure that people probably think I'm a prostitute. But in actuality, no. Although I did sell myself a couple times to a person years ago when I had just finished my divorce. And that made me feel really sad. I realized then thereafter that no amount of money was worth my integrity and dignity in that manner. And the same thing when people mention get an OnlyFans, is that I don't want to expose myself anymore. Do you cretins not realize what I'm trying to get at when I say these things? Like, obviously sexual harassment. Obviously I don't want to be exposed. Obviously I just want one dude touching on my titties and my cooch. And no, so far, not that great. Like, people have told me, they're like, well, why did you go to online dating? Well, just because I was lacking the socialization. I was looking for companionship, and I wrote that on my profiles. Seeking companionship and not seeking intimacy at this time. And I actually had a lot of people that wanted to get to know me because they were wondering why I would say that. Or they'd question, what's companionship? What do you mean by that? And I'm like, can you look it up in the dictionary? Like, do you have resources on your phone? Like, do you have Safari? Like, are you okay? Like, do I have to explain everything to you? Like, no. And then that's when I would just delete them. Like, immediately. If they said something stupid, I would just delete them from my from my profile thing, the messages. I mean, I'm very hard to get after. Honestly, it's very, very hard to catch my attention unless they're like, hey, you want dinner? And I'm like, yeah, you got me. I am hungry, but only for vegan food. And then also too, when he offered me the Airbnb for 4 days. Now, if it would have been for 1 day, I'd have been like, that's not worth driving all the way that way and dealing with an asshole. Not really worth my time. And so yes, I know that I was using it kind of backhandedly. I wasn't really dating on it, but then to be forced to get pregnant on it, that's not okay. Like, doesn't matter how I was using the app. I was appeasing my own, I was getting companionship, just not from the greatest sources. I mean, not everybody is a 10, and I know I'm not a 10 for sure, but I know I'm better than a 5. I'm just playing. I'm a 1. But yeah, so if I could do it over though, I would definitely do it a little differently. When he approached me and spanked me on the bottom, then I should have known and just left. But it was kind of oddly attractive, because normally I don't get like that bad boy like type. That type of person is not normally somebody I go for. And when he said about, going to go get dinner, and I was like, okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's just playful from, playing his card game. Guys are like that, but I hardly know you. Like, I know we had the video chat, and I know that there are some times where men are like, yeah, I'm into you. you're already, because he was saying stupid shit like, calling me my baby or whatever, like something like that, like my girl is what he said. And I was like I hardly know you. Like, how am I supposed to be your girl if, like, we've never been around each other? How am I supposed to be your girl if, like, I don't know you're gonna be there at the end of the day? And that's exactly right. He's not here at the end of the day. The only person that's here is God, and God's allotment for me, which is like my phone and, you know, all these different resources that I get handed to me because I don't go out seeking them very often. I know I should try to put more effort into it. I just don't want to be around people. I just don't. I hate everybody so much. It makes me very, very sad that Jason Wallace had to use me like that. It makes me very sad that a baby came from it. I mean, it's one thing to harbor resentments toward the men that have forced things on you, because I've done that all these years and I just kept my mouth shut. But then the one time I fucking speak up about it, and then nobody believes me. Nobody ever believes me. People are insane. Nobody ever believes you when you're actually telling the truth. They only believe people that lie. And that's why I'm like, I would rather not be. Fine. If you can't trust me for my truth, then fine. That's whatever. That's on you. I'd rather be dead and honest than alive and a liar. It's true. I should have eaten some fresh produce today. I should have avoided some of those processed foods, because then I get extra sad when I eat them too. Like, I know it affects all moods and things. Like, I'm living proof of that. Like, those years that I was just consuming everything around me, I ate 20, 40 chicken nuggets in one sitting, and fries, and whatever sodas, and whatever sweet tea, because I was living in the South, so it was sweet tea with everything. And I enjoyed it for a little while, and that's how I ended up. A little while turned into a few years of that, and I got over 300 pounds. And then I rationalized that wasn't me. That, like, I know who I am inside, but it's just getting people to see it. It's getting people to understand it and to stop abusing me, because I wasn't lying, and I was just not telling the truth because I didn't want to hurt anybody. So, like, there's the difference. Like when white lies are told. When I said, oh no, there's no abuse going on here. Oh no, I love them. You know, like, they didn't do anything to me. That was a lie. That was a lie, a complete lie. Is it weird to want to love people that have abused you? I don't really think it is. I think it's rational for me to want to forgive them, but not so much offer them chances into my life anymore. There's no reason for that. Unless somebody were to make efforts into it, then I just don't care. And honestly, I don't anticipate anybody making any efforts aside from negative ones toward me. So that's usually what happens, and I don't really care. At this point, I don't care if people believe me. I don't care if people like me. I don't care if people, subscribe to my channel. That's weird. Why would you want to see a train wreck like this? Why would you want to see crazy like this? Why would you want to engage with someone that's obviously not doing well financially, or even, legally? Obviously, people are out to get me, and that's, I guess, what the most enticing part about this is that I am actually a genuine human being. If you meet me, you'd understand. And these circumstances are entirely true. And unfortunately, I just have to sort of deal with it, to sort of live in this reality of no one rationalizing where I'm coming from, nobody rationalizing what true psychology is, and nobody making any attempts to try to appease the situations or compensate for the trauma that I've sustained so far at the hands of people that told me they loved me. And the US government told me that they loved and cared for me too, because in that way of like, when you're born here, you're supposed to be acknowledged as an individual. That's what it says in each one of our rights when we're born, our constitutional rights, that we have these freedoms. Yet I was kept for so many years from being able to engage with those freedoms, because those freedoms are only for people that are educated. Those freedoms are only for people that can understand and engage with the terminology and understand also the symbolisms behind certain things. So that's why I feel like I'm still being tormented, because maybe I just am not quite as smart as I should be. Maybe I'm not quite as capable as I should be. And because I'm discriminated against for being a disabled citizen, I would rather be that and have full coverage insurance than somebody that is just a lowly peon, a lowly, say, fast food worker that doesn't get any acknowledgments whatsoever and has to strive for that minimum wage. And that's a lot of ands, mind you. I said a lot of ands just then, but when you're going through emotional bouts, it's kind of really hard to have the appropriated phrasing and sentencing for all of these things. So I just hope everybody's doing well today. I relayed a little bit of what's going on, and essentially nothing is going on. I still need to figure out where I'm going to go to get an ultrasound done or whatever blood work done for the baby, and to see what gender it is, to see if it's a boy or a girl. Not that it would really matter, but I just feel like it would give me some sense of calm to know what I might have to give up later on, you know, to know exactly what is going to be taken from me, because everybody takes everything from me. I know not to expect anything in this world anymore. I know not to expect having this phone next to me by tomorrow. I know not to expect, that things work out well. I'm always apprehensive, because I told everyone I was cynically optimistic. I'm optimistic, yes. I'm very, positive about most things, but very realistic, and it's very cynical. The world is a very cynical place. It's everybody's out for themselves, and so I don't expect anything good to happen during the rest of this pregnancy. I don't expect anything good to happen, thereafter either, because nobody listens. Nobody wants to help a person like me, because I'm not striving for more, and I don't have the money to feed their systems, their judicial systems, in order to fix these circumstances. And fix what? I didn't do anything. The fuck is wrong with you people? Like, that's what it is. It's like, what? Quit backing me into a corner, and then I don't have to expose you for what you're doing to me. So I tell people, like, I feel like when I get backed into a corner, I'm like a snarling beast, and I think of myself, the imagery behind that is like comparing it to my zodiac sign, which is a Leo. And laughing in the other room, because and I think of myself like a little bit like a warrior, in that sense of like very capable, very much able to confront certain fears, confront certain aspects of my life through these primitive behaviors, snarling and snapping at others if they attack me. I wouldn't want to take on a lion barehanded, but I guess I've laughed about it with people. Like, that you don't want to take me on, because I take on a lot of different attributes of a primitive beast when backed into a corner. And anybody would. Anybody that's had this much turmoil and this much disappointment in their life and had so much taken from them. But then I tell people, I guess it just didn't belong to me. It wasn't meant for me, and that's completely okay. I was crying about the wrong spilt milk, you know? So there's no reason to cry over that stuff, because there's no reason to cry over my Tara Linnell Collins, my TLC, because then she wasn't meant for me. She wasn't my child, I guess. That's what everybody clarifies to me on this paper plane, this paper, you know, this 3D dimension of like, oh, this paper says she's not yours anymore. Okay, she was ripped from my body, but oh yeah, I guess you're right there. Good for you. Good for you. You know about psychology and ripping away a mother from her child and how that's going to affect the child's development overall, and also the mother's development and the mother's, you know, emotional instabilities, because that makes perfect sense. You would think you would offer her the things that are going to help stabilize her, but instead you offer me pills. You offered me 90 bars of Xanax. That's what the systems offered me in exchange for my child. Oh, you got your child taken away? Oh, that must mean you're a shitty mom. Here's 90 bars of Xanax every month that I tried to OD on. Twice. You tell me how that continues to happen. Very interesting story, but not just a story. There are people that know me that have seen this and understand. They were there. They witnessed it. I witnessed. Eyewitnesses to these accounts, and nobody would lie to save my life, and neither would I to save theirs. So that's just how it is, and there's no reason we should have to lie to save people's lives. What is wrong with you people? Just don't do fucked up shit, and then you won't get fucked over. But then again, I preach that, and everybody's getting away with it. So that's why I tell people, maybe you shouldn't listen to me. Maybe don't subscribe to me. Maybe I'm actually not trying to sway anybody's perception, like I've clarified in all my other videos. I'm not trying to sway your fucking perception. Everything keeps going wrong for me. I have no positives in this story, and all I do is preach about God and preach about doing better and doing healthful things, and yet everything shitty happens to me. So please don't follow me. Please, God, stop subscribing to me. I have no idea why anybody would want to witness my emotions, or, you know, the fact that you don't even engage with all the content. Why? Why even bother? I don't bother. I don't bother anybody else, and I don't go out seeking trouble or seeking to be a part of anyone's life anymore, because everybody that I ever cared about has left me. So, and even the fact that this father of the baby has just destroyed me psychologically again, it'll take me a while, probably after the baby's gone and stuff like that, to rationalize it's just me again, and you gotta keep going. Like, keep going along, it's fine. Like, nobody will get to you. They're evil, and that's how the world works. And, you know, at some point, the babies will realize that you really did love them. But that doesn't mean that I'm any less capable just because I'm not financially able to support my children. If I was given things like some of you prissy bitches that talk down to me, if I was given a home and I was given proper guidance from my father and mother, then maybe it would be different. But no. Some people are like, you don't deserve your kid. Like, who are you to say that? Little Miss Posh over there? Little Miss got everything she wants? And you've got to judge other people? That's what I thought. You're nobody and nothing to me, and you've never sustained half as much trauma as I have. So you have no right to speak down about my mothering techniques, because I am actually really good with children. Actually surprisingly good with children, because I've lived through way worse than most people, and I can engage with people on an individual level. and rationalize from their perspective what they need, what they want, and what I can help with, you know? So yeah, I better get off here though. It's already been over an hour, and I just never know who's gonna like walk in and out of this place, so. Plus I'm thirsty. I'm gonna go drink some tea right now and try to settle my stomach. I hadn't had a proper bowel movement in like 48 hours at one, like last couple days. And finally I had it. Sometimes like traveling and everything, stress will cause it, just disruptions, but mostly just eating trash food will do it. I wish I didn't have to eat crap. I wish I had the finances for my own place and like have my own food in a world that's getting destroyed, all the resources being depleted. Why should I ask for any more than what I have? Humans just take from the world. I don't ask for anything. I really don't. Like, I'm fine. If I could die, that would be good. Like, if that could be an option, if I could just like lay down and go to sleep and not wake up, that would be good. I've tried all these different options for that, but it doesn't work. I keep coming back forcibly. First times when I was young, obviously, my mother could tell you, like, I was on the verge of death. So, numerous times. I'm exhausted, emotionally and psychologically. Physically, also slightly exhausted. I just wish there was someone that was out there that could love me and that I could love back, and that wouldn't want to just leave me for dead and leave me when times were tough. Real love, true love, but I don't know if that's even existent in this world anymore. Men take what they want. Women just don't give a fuck anymore. Trying to please men. No thank you, that's not my job anymore. I'm not here to please every fucking guy. I'm here to please one person, and that's God. So, and he's not a person, he's a thing. It's a thing. God isn't it. So, but if there were one other person, maybe my partner, that would be nice. I don't know if that's actually something that exists though, especially for me. Seems like I've made all these faulty attempts to try to pursue other people when I knew they weren't right. I knew it wasn't right. I knew I was lacking something. I think about Jason Wallace more than I should. I try to force him out of my mind all the time, but I've been thinking about him a lot lately. Praying he'll stay the fuck away from me. Praying that, he's happy with whatever he's fucking caused himself, but all he's done is just destroy me even more. Praying that he gets his just rewards, I guess, but I really don't care. I really don't care. At this point, like I said, I'm nearly halfway done, so, just give it up. What's the point? Like, if I don't have resources for it, then I'm done. I'm not gonna go run around trying to support something I can't financially support, even though physically I could. Obviously, I have tits, I can feed it. And what's a few changed diapers here and there if you use cloth, I wouldn't necessarily need a whole lot for my baby, but people don't want to see babies in vehicles with women, because then they'll just take the baby and then leave her in jail for saying that it was neglect or some type of crazy behavior, instead of rationalizing, oh yeah, I was a rapist that put me in this situation. I love this baby, I don't want to give it up, but I also don't know what to do with it. So it came from my body and I wanted to love it. I don't know, it kind of looks like me, But whatever, kids are, I need to rationalize. Men have a detachment toward children, and I should have the same detachment toward children. Women are too crazy when they're attached to their children in such a way, and letting go of my daughter was the most painful thing I'd ever lived through. And once you live through something like that, then you can rationalize that no one in this world matters more than God, God's the only thing that'll always be with you. Your children won't always be with you. Your partners won't always be with you. Your government will not always be there for you. No one. Just God. And people don't realize what I mean by that, but God is everywhere and in everything. And it's dependent on what you're seeing and what you're doing. That's why it's unfortunate that I've been able to bring myself to the rationalization that more than likely I won't be able to be allowed to keep this child without the financial backing that I need to sustain it. Am I crying? Am I seeking help? Not necessarily. I started a GoFundMe to see if I could make that money for my car payment off of there, because one of my friends told me, you need to try that. And I was like, oh, really? I tried that years ago when I told everyone I lost my daughter through nefarious means, and no one did shit. And then now, do you think people are going to help me with a car payment? No. People are not like that. They're not there to help others. They're there to harass them and share their videos for their own amusement and talk trash to them and try to misconstrue the actual purpose of these videos, and also just sending you random text messages by people and presuming that I give a shit. There's so many people out there that rationalize. I just cut everyone off. If I feel concerned, if I feel threatened in any way, you don't exist to me. Point blank. You just don't exist. So, and that's what it's like for me. Like, I'm just over it. I really wish that I had some means of taking care of my children away from these fucking monster men. But there's nothing I can do. Absolutely nothing. These men are fucking demons, and that's what we have to deal with. And that's what women have always dealt with. Because men try to rationalize their sexual demands, and you can't rationalize that. You can't. The same thing with their detachment toward their children. That's irrational. But then at the same time, men think that they know everything. So they feel like, it's their obligation to tell women what it's like. And it's like, women are way stronger than you. We literally have to birth these children. These children are forced out of our bodies painfully. And for you to say, oh yeah, this one's good, this one's not good, whatever, and you make the choice of which children you want to be around, Jason Wallace, and creating however many fucking demon children he has out there, I just know that I won't allow him to be anywhere near this kid. That's messed up. If somebody's acting out in that way, they are very, very mentally ill. And to not want to help tend to a baby that you helped create, that is sick beyond reason. And I just don't know how else to explain it. It's just, I just don't understand why men get away with so many crazy thoughts, and then they turn around and they have the best ways of gaslighting, in that sense of saying, oh no, but wasn't it you that caused this? Wasn't it your attire that caused this? Wasn't it this? Wasn't it that? And it's like, no, you people are fucked. You people are totally fucked. Like, just in the brains, just fucked. Like, I don't even know what to tell you people. Like, that is so messed up. Like, there's some days I just want to just fucking lay down and give up, not share my story in the slightest. But then other times I'm like, you know what? Fucking harp about it, because inevitably somebody will fucking hear you, and some people will rationalize too not to get involved with military men. and not to get involved with certain men that are deceptive, or going online dating for certain things, or, you know, rationalizing things, this and that. Wow. You are so dishonorable, Jason Wallace. Like, how in the fuck could you be a goddamn sergeant in the fucking, whatever, Navy? You're a piece of shit to me. You mean nothing. I hope you fucking drown to death, fucking asshole. I was swimming and the baby was like moving around. After I got done swimming, the positioning of the baby was like slightly different. Like, I can feel the differences where the baby moves around inside me. It's so weird, and like the firmness in different spots. I wish I could love this baby, but men don't love their babies, so I'm just gonna act exactly how the men do, and you know, just that's how it is. Don't have any attachment toward it, and then you won't get hurt when they rip it away from you, you know, for stupid reasons that you didn't do. That's how I should have seen it with my daughter. And everyone said that I was too crazy for loving her too much, and it's like, okay, we'll see what happens when you end up getting your beloved stolen from you, the one thing you cherished most above anything else. We'll see how you would respond to a certain circumstance like that, because karma, that sucks. You know, to have something and cherish it and be so in love, and then it just is ripped away from you, and then everything consecutively ripped away from you because everyone else's words matter more than your actual compassion and love and reality. And it's insane, like insane. I just don't even understand any of it. I really don't. I think this entire reality is not real. It can't be real. Like, you cannot be that deranged to be that backward in all of these circumstances where I keep getting in trouble for nothing. You'll get yours. I tell that to the US government too. Like, that's how you treat your civilians? This is how you treat them? This is how you have them interact with your fucking military? Like, no. Like, no. And I don't give a fuck if my shit's deleted and I have to redo this over and over again. Watch me disappear one of these days. And then what? People are gonna be like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, conspiracy theories that are actually conspiracy facts. Like I said, conspiratory facts. So yeah, I'm just sick and tired of people. I just pray to God the fucking world destroys itself. Like, that's all I can think of. Like, I just don't even care right now. Like, there is nothing that I want to see but destruction and death. And that's really sad, because I used to be such a loving and compassionate person, and now I see things and I see them for what they are. Distorted monstrosities and all these hidden symbolisms and metaphors behind everything. So sad. That's why Jason Wallace means nothing to me, and neither does this baby, essentially, because the only way it would mean something to me is if I were able to keep it. But I'm not able to keep it. Not at this point. Not at this very moment, March 30th, 2022. So, aside from being the one that finances it for the next, for the duration of the 9 months that it's in my body, I financed it, I paid for it, I gave it vitamins, I gave it food, I gave it water, I gave it all these things. And people don't rationalize all of that. They don't. They look at it as, oh, okay, you've gone 9 months, but you still don't have a home? Oh, you don't get to keep this baby. This is going into foster care. This is going into the system, You don't have any place to take this baby. So, okay, whatever. All right. Why not? Not a problem. Like, you want to steal and rob from me all the time. It doesn't matter. Like that $4,316 that I was out last year that's forced me into being like even worse off this year because my ex-husband needed that money. My ex-husband needed it for his daughter, right? That wasn't my daughter. That wasn't mine. I'm never going to support that child again financially. Never. Like, no. And the fact that I was offering financial support and stuff, and then they told me that they didn't, because my ex-husband clarified, I didn't receive anything. Really, bitch? I'm pretty fucking sure you did, and I'm pretty sure there's eyewitnesses to knowing that I put in that fucking money. So, you need to be fucking put in prison. There's so many people, and I just never say anything. And when I do, I get looked at like I'm crazy because I have no evidence. Bitch, look up the evidence. Look up the text messages. Look up the documents. Look up this and that. You know how to do it, and you just choose not to. Fuck you, people. Have a blessed day, everybody. Leticia Collins Servin. Bye-bye.